So hey guys, a little impromptu video here. Just went out and got the mail and there was a package in there. I got a pretty good idea what it is and I wanted to share it with you guys. So let me give you just a real quick background on us. Like I mentioned, we've been doing this probably about 6 years now, where our food is starting to become more and more of an important thing to us. We'd like to try to take as much control of it as we can. And with that, there's a lot that goes into it with the gardening side of stuff. It's a life journey in some ways when I look at it. You think about just all the variety of different crops out there to try, like corn for example. There's several different varieties out there, and trying to figure out which ones work best for your location, which ones you like the taste the best of, which ones work best for the use. I mean, look at tomatoes. There's several different varieties of tomatoes. Some work better for different uses. And with that, one thing that's really, I guess, come to the forefront for us is heirloom seeds. We're starting to move a lot more to that. We do have some hybrids, but we are starting to find some heirloom varieties that we really like and are starting to narrow those down. But corn, that's something we haven't really narrowed down. We tend to use hybrids, and there's pros and cons to using hybrids. Hybrids, you know, not always, but tend to be a little bit more resistant to certain diseases. Sometimes they're sculpted for a flavor profile or something like that, but there's also a little bit of a give or take. One of the big selling points of heirloom is the crops are a lot better tasting, as well as the seeds. That's a big one why we try to move towards heirloom. I mean, take for example, you go buy an apple from the store, pull those seeds out, try to plant those and grow those. I pretty much can guarantee you that that's not going to be the variety of apple that you get. They do a lot of grafting with stuff. There's hybrids, so it's not always a guarantee of what you're going to end up with in the end. And with that, that's a big moving thing for us, to why we are trying to move more and more as time goes on to more and more heirloom variety of seeds, mostly for the harvesting the seed at the end of the year and having that same plant to carry on year to year. And that's a little bit of a growing thing too. As you harvest those seeds, you try to select the best ones, because those are the ones that seem to do the best in your growing conditions. And as time goes on, that plant gets more and more kind of built up. I mean, even look at GMO. Boy, I don't know if I want to go down this topic at this point, but just let me give you a real quick brief example. The big selling point of GMO was you got away from a lot of the herbicides and pesticides. You just went out and blasted these fields with Roundup, and they just killed all the weeds in there, and life was good, right? Well, there were certain weeds that would sit in there. They'd get sprayed with the Roundup, they wouldn't die, then those weeds would reproduce, and now that's becoming a big struggling issue for a lot of farmers here. A lot of the Roundup is not killing a lot of the weeds now, so now they're gonna have to start going back and using some other herbicides, or starting to adjust their Roundup type variety of weed killer, or whatever you want to call it, the killer. So now looking to open the can of worms here, GMO versus non, but it is kind of an interesting thing as well. We try to avoid it as much as possible, but it's something that is probably in a lot more of our diets than we'd like to admit. Something like 88 or 89, I can't remember what the stat was. Google percentage of corn GMO or something. It's like something like that. Soybean is even more scarier. It's like 98% or something of soybean is GMO. And how often do you see soy in vegetable oil, or even just random foods that you buy from the store you wouldn't think soy would be in? It's pretty amazing. Boy, I'm getting sidetracked here. So anyways, we've been looking at sweet corn. We were gonna plant a bunch of sweet corn this year to grow for our animals, as well as to be able to like grind to make cornmeal and to have some uses like that. And it just didn't end up happening because poor planning this winter. That was one thing I neglected to think about when we were purchasing seeds early or late in the winter, I guess. And by the time I figured out a variety that we wanted to potentially try, we were already sort of past that hump of getting it in the ground and still having somewhat of a successful crop. So with that being said, there's a channel on YouTube here called Deep South Homestead. I think a lot of you guys are aware of them. Danny and Wand over there, they are just packed with knowledge, and they're fantastic at getting food put up and preserved for the year, something that we're looking to strive to get closer to what they are. But you know, we got a ways to go. With that being said, Danny's had a variety of field corn that he's been growing for the last 20 years. And like I mentioned before, you know, he's sort of sculpted to his growing conditions, and he offered it up, a bunch of it, for sale. It's still for sale on their Etsy store. I'll put a link in the description below if you guys got interest. But I decided, you know, we're gonna try that variety here. Granted, we're totally on the other end of the spectrum here. You know, they're way down south, Deep South Homestead, right? and we're up towards the central, the northern part of Minnesota here. So definitely a very big difference in the growing conditions. But I wanted to give this a try. One, to support them. I think they're great people. And two, this is a variety that if it goes well, I mean, this seems to have all the things that we're looking for. They really like it for grinding cornmeal. They it's just a variety that we know is not GMO. We know it's an heirloom variety. So that's what we're opening up today. So we'll take a little look at that, and we'll compare it to some of the peaches and cream. Granted, this field corn, sweet corn, the seeds are going to be different as it is, but we'll just do a real quick comparison to those as well. Anyways, let's get this opened up here. They ship this stuff pretty quick, so you can see here, this is our I believe this one's our peaches and cream variety here of seeds. Looks like they threw a little dinky note in here, and then they threw another variety in there. They call it Danny's corn. So you can look here, got a little variety in color here. I mean, granted, we're doing sweet corn to field corn here, but some nice sized kernels. You can see this one here is Danny's corn here. Granted, we're doing sweet corn to field corn, and this is the, I believe it's the peaches and cream. So this is a pretty nice big size kernel. So I'm pretty excited about this. This will be a fun little adventure next summer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these, I'm going to throw these in a freezer bag of some sort and get them in our freezer. That tends to be what we oftentimes do. We've also, you know, harvested seeds and we've kept them in the fridge, but we've found that there's a little bit more room for error putting them in the freezer because there's been times we've harvested seeds, we haven't dried them well enough, and then we put them in the fridge and we come to find them molded in the springtime. So a lot of times this is sort of what we do when we put our seeds away. These are some of our green bean seeds. We tend to vacuum seal them and we just throw them in the freezer and just leave them. And I mean, this is a lot of seeds here, and it doesn't really take up all that much space. Like I mentioned, I'm really excited about this. Oh, one last little thing. I did chat with Danny briefly on this. He says it's 140, 150 day variety of seeds, but that also includes drying time. That was a little bit of concern because we have short growing seasons here in Minnesota, but I think it should be all right. You know, at least field corn, a lot of times if you can get that corn to come up, and especially if it starts going into that drying phase where it wants to hang upside down, that can make up, it can sit out there all winter and make a big difference. To be honest, I'm guessing we're going to see a lot of the farm fields around our area with corn still sitting in them over the winter because corn prices are just extremely low right now, and who wants to sell their corn at probably a potential loss or something. So I'm guessing people hang on till next spring, so before they sell it off. Yeah. Anyways, enough of that. Just wanted to share this with you guys. Hope you enjoy, and we'll see you on the next video. Thanks for watching.